Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck with me. Hey, Dr. Jacalyn.
Hi, nice to be here. Thank you.
Yes, so excited to have you. And just so people can kind of get to know you, I'm going to just read a short bio. So, as founder, president, and chief listening officer at US Global TV and Radio, Dr. Jacalyn has spearheaded a groundbreaking media venture that has revolutionized the way we connect with a global audience. Through her visionary leadership, she has created a platform that facilitates world exposure, market integration, and enhanced business profiles. Dr. Jacalyn, also known as the listening mentor, is a distinguished figure in the fields of coaching, media, and the arts. As a highly experienced certified life, career, and executive coach, she has guided numerous individuals, including influencers, business leaders, and celebrities, on their path to success. In addition to her coaching expertise, Dr. Jacalyn is a multi talented artist, having established herself as an Amazon #1 best-selling author, singer, and songwriter. As the listening mentor, Dr. Kerbeck recognizes the transformative power of active listening in building relationships and fostering understanding and facilitating personal growth. Her expertise in the area allows individuals and organizations to cultivate their essential skill, leading to improved communication, conflict resolution, and deep connections. Well, I am excited to hear your story. So tell us about you.
Thank you very much. Well, up until 2020, I was in corporate America and I was selling meetings and events, employee recognition programs. And I worked with a coach as I was getting my life coaching certification. And we did all kinds of role plays in the class. And I just really became good friends with this one person. And I worked with her to figure out how I was going to retire. And retirement was really something that I wanted. I had a great career. I traveled the world. I called on C-level executives, but I was sick a lot. And I started looking at my health and I realized that I couldn't do the travel anymore. I got some bizarre airborne shellfish allergy. And so we would go out entertaining clients. And as soon as they brought shellfish out, it was an airborne allergy. I'd have to go to the hospital. So I worked with my coach and we came up with the plan A, plan B, and plan C. And of course, then the pandemic hit. And I think we were on plan C minus, I don't even know, C plus. So I ended up getting my fitness certification. So my spinning certification, my yoga sculpt certification, and then with my life coaching career and executive coaching, I started coaching people, but then of course nobody could pay for anything. So at the same time, I'd gotten a call from a radio station in New York. And they found me on Google and they said, "You're a coach, and we'd really like to talk to you about what your clients are going through." So I called in for this 8-minute interview, and they called me the next day and they said, "You're perfect. We want to have you on our platform. And it's only $3,000. So I thought, okay, I'll pay. Actually, 3,500. I'll pay it. So I had my own radio show called Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, The Drive, live at 5. And this guy from New York would call me every Friday and we would have a chat. And then it got to the point where there was really nothing more to talk about. So I just said, I want to take over the show myself. So I started interviewing people from the Crohn's Colitis Foundation because I'm on the board and I've been a patient for 34 years, and people have a story to share and they feel sometimes overwhelmed or humiliated. They don't want to tell their story. So I started doing my show, which was called Stories of Adversity to Awesome.
Mhm.
And people would come on and share their story. Well, at the same time, I got invited to a television station in New Jersey to be interviewed on a show called Connect to Success. And the whole time I was being interviewed, I couldn't stop smiling. I was just like this ear to ear. And I thought, this is amazing. I want to have my own television show. So I talked to the owner and I started rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the same thing, but it was an in-person TV station. So I was doing both things at the same time. And the owner from the TV station said, we can't have this. You can't be on that platform and be on this platform. You have to make a choice. So I said, okay, via con dios, I'm leaving. I'm going to continue with the radio show. So in the meantime, I was coaching people, doing fitness classes. And then I saw that people were actually doing Facebook and YouTube lives. So I called somebody that I saw doing it. I just reached out on social media and he told me what he was doing and who was producing it. So I hired his producer, and I had the broadcast engineer from New York who was backstage on Zoom. And so we were doing the radio call. And then I had the producer who was taking us out onto Facebook and to YouTube. And it really started to take off. And I had people constantly calling and emailing, hey, can I get on the show? Can I get on the show? So I ended up expanding. We had 4 shows. And at that time, I got a call from, I think it was on WhatsApp or Messenger or something, from somebody in Jerusalem. And she contacted me and she said, you're the next Diane Sawyer. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. And she's like, no, you really have something. She said, I interviewed celebrities in New York for years. Her name's Heather Dean, and she wrote a book about all the celebrities she's interviewed. So she came on the show. And then from there, I got contacted by a gentleman in the UK. His name is Ian Pelham Turner, and he's an expert correspondent for the royal family. And he's been on all the major platforms. And he said, you really have something. So people just started coming into my life, and I thought maybe this could really be a full-time profession. So fast forward, we went from Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, and then through a lot of iterations, a lot of pain, a lot of lost money, I got us to the next level. And so today on USA Global TV and Radio, which we've been around now for, I don't know if it's 2.5 years or just over 3 years, we have about 45 shows. We have team members from around the world, people who have their own shows, and we continue to grow. So not only are we on social media, but we're on Roku worldwide. We're on Amazon Fire. I'm an Amazon Live influencer. We're on E360 TV and all the stations they distribute to, and also Zizzle TV. So that's me in a nutshell, and my role at USA Global TV and Radio as the president, founder, and chief listening officer.
That is beautiful. And it's amazing how you were just doing what you were passionate about and kept getting invitation after invitation.
It's true. I did have a lot of rocks thrown at me, and I did have partners who didn't do what they were supposed to do, but it all kept me going to the next phase. And at the same time, I was bringing people on board, and people would say, well, I don't have any experience in doing this, but I'd like to have my own show. And I'd have to explain to people the difference between a podcast and a live streaming broadcast. So we have a live streaming broadcast platform. The shows are not pre-recorded, although I do have some team members who pre-record and we just distribute their content. But we all are trained on elevated listening. So you'll see behind me some of the books that I've written, and one of them is Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. And so everyone who comes on our team has to take my course, and I make it very cost effective so that people all over the world can afford it. And they watch role plays. So they're real life scenarios that people have done based on my direction, and people look at the role play and they'll say, oh yeah, this is me all day long, this is me and my wife, this is me and my son. So the reason I have them do that is because what I found is when people were looking at their notes, they weren't listening. And so the person was saying something, and then instead of them acknowledging what was said, they went and let's see, number 5 is number 6. So now there's no scripts and people have to listen. When I catch people not listening, I'll call it out to them afterwards. And every guest who's on a show receives a survey, and they rate our team members and their experience. And if anyone gets a 7 or below, they have to go through the training again.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And even before we came on here, my show is very, I call it long form because I allow people to tell their story that at the beginning for a long time. In fact, the one I just had on just before you, he told his story for a good, 30 minutes when, some people just talk a lot. And, and you were saying, well, it's kind of good to do 2 minutes of talk and then 2 minute, question or whatever. So tell me why that is, and does it help people who are listen more, easily?
Yes, thanks for asking. Well, We have a live streaming television platform. So people may be watching on the live or on the replay, but people have limited attention. So I'll say to somebody before the show starts, if I'm producing it or if I'm hosting it, I'll say, this is a television show. This is not your soapbox. So we need engagement from myself, the co-host, whoever it is. We need everyone being engaged because that's what the audience wants to see. So please keep your comments to about 2 minutes. And what we do is we spotlight the person when they're speaking. And when we bring them back, that means that's it. Okay, we're moving on to the next question because we want the person to be able to get as much information out to the audience, but in a way that the audience can understand it because they can't listen to 30 minutes, right? It's too much. At some point, they're like, whoa, I don't even know where we are right now.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes total sense. And just a question about you. So when you were a child growing up and you said, "This is what I'm going to be when I grow up," what did you say that you were going to be when you grew up?
A lounge singer.
A
I
lounge.
always wanted to be Michelle Pfeiffer in the, I think it was called the Fabulous Baker Boys when she's wearing that dress and she's lying across the piano and singing. That's what I always thought I wanted to be.
Right. Now you do sing and you are a songwriter. So tell me about that.
Well, interestingly enough, on one of our shows, Celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich, we had a guest come on, Dr. Madeline Chan, and she's a vocal coach, but she also was a performer. She's won awards for her songwriting. And she said to me during the show, she said, you have a song inside of you. And I thought, okay, we're live on the air. So afterwards, she reached out to me and she said, I want to gift you 10 vocal lessons because I know that there's a song inside there. So what ended up happening was I met with her and we started doing it and we actually wrote a song together. And one of the sentences, I can't think of exactly what it was, but something about feeling loved. And I started to cry. And she said, we're on to something there. And I think I felt like my emotions were trapped inside me and I didn't feel loved. And so I have not gone forward to do something with that song because I still have emotions. My mother died recently. But what I took from that was that in writing songs, you can get your message out. So Dr. Chan, myself, another woman who's in New Zealand, Mariska Dupria,
Mhm.
and a woman named Lala Music, we actually did write a song and we had it recorded, and it's called Listening Lazies. And it actually, I have my books here. It actually goes along with this book, Lady Ella's ABCs of Listening. And I'm not going to go through the details right now, but in the book, there's the sheet music for the song. And then the song is available on all the major platforms. Here it is. So it's very hard to play because I play the piano, but so it's Listening Lazy. So that's the song that we have actually out there in the public domain. And then we've written a number of other songs, but we just haven't moved forward with them as of yet because I was distracted. I took care of my mom for a long time. So we'll see if we can get it back on the table.
Yeah. So now what do you like to do for fun when you're not broadcasting?
Well, believe it or not, I work almost all the time. And when I'm not working, I'm working out.
Mhm.
So because the platform and the production of it is so involved, I have a team of people, but I like to know exactly what's going on. So I learned all the aspects of the business myself, and I spend my time researching where can we go next? What platforms can we go on next? And how can I get my team members more exposure? So I'm doing what I'm doing and loving it. And I'm also writing my book. So I think I have 14 books out now in the last 2.5 years. And then I work out. That's it.
That's beautiful. So if someone wanted to have their own show or be on a show, because obviously it's a lot of work. People don't realize, even this simple podcast I'm doing, they don't realize how much work goes in between the actual broadcast. There's work before, there's work after. So if someone wanted to have their own show, but they wanted to let you help them, how would that work?
Well, we have different options, and we finally came up with the idea of putting it on our website literally last week because every time someone would reach out, everybody wants to talk to me, which I understand. And they want to tell me what they want to do. And then sometimes it's they want to have a show and it's really not, they want to be a guest. So we have different opportunities, but they can go right to the website, usaglobaltv.com, and the opportunities are there. So it starts with you've already created content, like what you're doing, you're already creating content. We'll distribute it across our platform. So we'll market it for you and we'll distribute it for you. We'll do the search engine optimization. Then we have where you can be your own show host and we train you. And of course, you have to be an elevated listener. We have a whole team of people across the world who are elevated listeners, and they're all on our website as well. They get a certificate, they can put it on their LinkedIn. And then we have the opportunity for you to co-host with me, which is kind of the top of the line because I've done over 5,000 shows at this point. And then we have our expert talking head presenters. So these are people who have their own 30-minute show presenting. There's no interviewing, it's presenting something. And then we have our panel show for women, which is called a Woman's Prerogative. So we have full-time panelists from around the world who get together every Monday. We actually have 2 episodes on Mondays, and there's a topic, and then each woman discusses it and also gets an opportunity to promote themselves. And then, of course, we have advertising opportunities, and then we're always open to other opportunities. If people have ideas, we're always open to hear them.
Beautiful. And besides being that active listener, that elevated listener, what other ideas or thoughts do you have as far as being a really great interviewer?
Thanks for the question. We actually recorded several broadcasters who have over 1 billion following. We asked them questions. And the first thing is, people typically believe they have to do a ton of research. They have to know every nook and cranny of the person. But the key is to ask a powerful question that gets the person to open up. And obviously, it's a question that has an answer that is not a yes or a no, because that's a dead end. So you ask a powerful question, and then you listen fully to what the person is saying. And this is something truly important. Many times as interviewers, we ask questions because we want to know the answer, but that's not spotlighting the guest, because the whole thing is to make the guest feel like a hero. So ask the guest, what is it that you want people to take away from this particular episode or this particular interview? And then make sure that that gets a highlight or a spotlight. So I would say, do some research, definitely. Go on LinkedIn, do a Google search. If the person has a website, look and see, because you don't want to be there. You have no idea what this person does. But what's happened to me is we have everyone register because you have to accept the terms and conditions to be on television. And then somebody else will show up for the broadcast. So we meet 10 minutes before we go live, and then someone else shows up. And so they're not even registered. So we have to get them to register. But then it's kind of like, wow, we don't even know anything about the person. So when I was back in the day training people, my co-host would be, oh, what are we supposed to do? And I'd say, watch. Because you don't really have to know something. You just have to be able to ask questions and to listen.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And my form, I actually send out questions, but that just kind of guides me in a way, especially with things people want to talk about that I wouldn't know they wanted to talk about. Like some people have a charity or they have different things. So when I ask them, what are 5 things you want to talk about? That gives me an idea, okay, to go there. But I like to go on with just a little bit of preparation,
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And the reason is I want to ask the questions that I think my listeners would want to know the person
Mm-hmm.
is. So I want to come on with curiosity, asking as if I'm asking for the first time, not asking from my knowledge that I already know about them.
I love that. Curiosity is key. And I think that's a big reason why we do this type of work.
Mhm. Exactly, because it's so fun to connect with other people and to learn from them. And um, every time I invite someone and they say yes, I always say, okay, I sent you the form. I'm so excited to have you on my show. And I say that to everyone because I really am super excited to have them on my show because I think they're just amazing. and so excited to get to know them and learn their story and see what other, nuggets they can share with people that will just inspire, listeners and just make their lives better.
Very true. It's all about collaboration too. One thing I think is key, and I just talked about this earlier today on a show, is that there's so many places where we can get our message out. And instead of looking at it as, oh, you're a competitor and I'm a competitor, no, we're collaborators. Let's work together to help promote each other's work. But as I shared with you about that television station, and the owner said, no, you can't be on here and be on the radio. And I've met with him since, and I said, that was really a mistake. He still doesn't believe it's a mistake. But
Mhm.
I take our team members and I proactively introduce them to other people and say, you know what, you do this and she does that, and I could see you doing this together.
Mhm.
And people have been really surprised. Like, I can't believe that you introduced me to somebody who has a different television network. Why wouldn't I? There's plenty to say and share and go around in the world. I don't own anyone.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. There is plenty. There's plenty of everything, actually.
Mhm.
There's plenty of everything, and why not share? That's one of my favorite things is to connect people. You know, when you know people and you say, "Oh, I think this person would be good with this person." And there's times when I meet someone for the first time, and even before we're done with the conversation, I said, "There's three people I want to connect you with. I'm gonna," because I know they would enhance each other's lives or careers or what they're doing.
It's a gift. It really is.
Yes, yes, it really is. So I have a personal question for you.
Sure.
What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
I can't believe I am doing something that I actually love and making a living at it. I love writing books. I don't make any money writing books. Okay. And I'm not making the money that I used to make when I worked in corporate and I traveled the world and I had the company card and I had all the benefits. I every single day I'm out there clawing and crawling, but I get to do what I love and I can't express. It took me all this time, all these years. I'm 61, and it took me up until 3 years ago, 4 years ago to find my passion in life, and it's just such a gift. So, I think I'm just truly grateful for that, and by the way, had it not been for the pandemic, and had it not been for my mother getting dementia, I would not have been able to do any of the things that I'm doing because I spent this green screen behind me. This has been my best friend for years because I took care of my mom with dementia, and I was in the house all the time. So, it's if on the other side of this setup here, I've got my workout, my spin bike, all my weights. I still go to the gym and everything, but in the winter when I was here, I was able to at least work out because we're on an island. So anyway, it's incredible passion and joy and gratitude.
Wonderful. So how can people connect with you?
So our website is usaglobaltv.com. I also have my personal website, which is drjacalyn.com. And on the Dr. Jacalyn site, that's where people can find my courses, find my books, and then find out information about listening. There's also a link to take a test because people will say to me all the time, oh, I know how to listen. In my job, I have to listen. Meanwhile, I notice they're not even listening to me. And so I say to people, what, fabulous. We, as humans, we can continue to evolve, right? We're both lifelong learners. Take the test and let's see how you do. And they take the test, they go, yeah, I didn't do so well." It's okay. It's okay. So the link to the test is there. And then we have our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV. And so people can go there and they can watch our content and then they can reach back out and say, I'd like to be a guest or I'd like to talk about joining the team. So they're probably the best ways. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on all the social media platforms under either Dr. Jacalyn or USA Global TV and radio.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today and
Thank
for all your
you.
wisdom and fun stories.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'd like to just thank you for this opportunity. I know you're going to be coming to my platform, so I'm looking forward to that and what you're doing in the world. I mean, the unique combination you have with your education and your profession make you somebody who really stands out and shines. So thanks for your leadership and your inspiration.
Well, thank you. So I have one last question before we complete. What
Yes.
is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
follow your intuition and follow your passion, and be prepared that people in your life who love you may not be in agreement with you. And you have to decide, how important is it to you to follow your passion? And as I mentioned, my journey has not been an easy one, and I lost a lot of money. People lied to me. I trusted people, and I just kept going because I believed that I really had something, and I surround myself all the time with at least 6 coaches or mentors. So I think that's another key. So follow your intuition, follow your passion, find your passion if you haven't found it, and then surround yourself with people who are mentors and coaches, and find somebody who's doing what you want to do and they're ahead of you, and reach out to them. Even if you don't know them, reach out to them and say, "Hey, doctor, I love what you're doing. Can you spare a few minutes to talk to me?" I know you would do that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Don't be afraid. Put fear aside, and remember, you have one life. You've got to live it the way you want to live it, because otherwise you're going to be filled with regret.
Mhm. That's right. I love that. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay.